Introduction to SAP Authorization and Security. Overview of Authorization and Security. SAP is a complex system that supports various business functions, from finance to human resources. Given the critical nature of the data managed by SAP, it is essential to have a robust system for controlling who can access what information and perform which tasks. In SAP, authorization is the process of granting users the necessary access to data and functions. Authorization is controlled by authorization objects and authorization fields, which define what users can see and do within the system. Chapter 1: Understanding Transaction Codes. T-codes. What are T-codes? T-codes, transaction codes, in SAP are shortcuts that help users quickly navigate through the system. Each T-code corresponds to a specific function, such as displaying a report or maintaining user data. Key T-codes for authorization tasks. Some essential T-codes for managing security and authorization tasks include: 1. SU20, used to manage and create authorization fields. 2. SU21, used for managing authorization objects. 3. SU22, used to maintain and update standard authorization objects linked to transaction codes. 4. SU24, this is used to customize authorization data for specific transaction codes. These T-codes provide system administrators with the necessary tools to maintain proper security settings and ensure that only authorized users can access sensitive data. Chapter 2: The role of authorization objects in SAP. Defining authorization objects. An authorization object is a collection of fields that define access permissions. Each object specifies what actions can be performed by a user on a particular resource, such as a table, transaction, or report. Key authorization objects in SAP. There are numerous authorization objects in SAP. Below are some of the key categories. User administration objects. 1. S_user_GRP controls access to user groups. 2. S_user_auth regulates user authorization levels. 3. S_user_sys determines system-specific permissions. Role administration objects. 1. S_user_agr manages role assignments. 2. S_user_tcd_pr controls transaction codes and profiles. 3. S_user_val validates roles before assignment. Table access objects. 1. S_taboo_bas provides basic table access permissions. 2. S_taboo_nam controls access based on table names. ABAP development objects. 1. S_develop provides access to ABAP programs and development tools. Background job administration. 1. S_btch_adm manages background job permissions. Transport management system, TMS. 1. S_transport regulates transport permissions. File access and archiving. 1. S_data_set manages access to data sets. 2. S_path controls access to file paths. 3. S_archive deals with archiving permissions. Chapter 3: Managing authorization objects. The role of security administrators. SAP security administrators are responsible for ensuring that users are granted the appropriate levels of access. They must manage the authorization objects that define user permissions. Identifying authorization objects by module. Every SAP module, for example, Finance, CRM, HR, has its own set of authorization objects that control access to module-specific data. For example, 1. Finance authorization objects govern access to financial transactions and reports. 2. HR objects control access to employee data and payroll information. Common tasks in authorization management. Common tasks include 1. Assigning users to roles with the appropriate authorization objects. 2. Reviewing authorization logs to identify unauthorized access attempts. 3. Ensuring that sensitive data is restricted according to company policies. Chapter 4. T codes for authorization fields and objects using SU20 for authorization fields. The SU20 T code is used to manage authorization fields in SAP. Each field corresponds to a specific authorization requirement and can be linked to a table or data element. Linking authorization fields to tables and data elements, for example. 1. TCD, transaction code, linked to the TSTC table, which contains all SAP T codes. Practical example of authorization field management: when a user requests access to a certain function, the security administrator uses SU20 to determine which fields are required for authorization. These fields are then linked to the appropriate data tables and data elements. Chapter 5. Creating custom authorization objects. When and why to create custom authorization objects. While SAP provides many standard authorization objects, there may be instances where custom objects are necessary to meet specific security requirements. The process of creating custom authorization objects. Creating a custom authorization object involves several key steps. 1. Define fields. Identify the necessary fields for the object. 2. Link to tables and data elements. Associate each field with the appropriate tables and data elements. 3. Assign developer keys. Developers will need a developer key to create custom objects. Essential components of custom authorization objects. A custom object consists of 1. Authorization fields. 2. Linked tables and data elements. 3. Permissions and values. Chapter 6. Managing upgrades and authorization data. Understanding SU22 and SU24. 1. SU22 contains the standard authorization objects that are linked to SAP T codes. 2. SU24 contains the customized authorization data that adjusts the standard objects to meet the organization's specific security needs. The SU25 upgrade process. During system upgrades, authorization data may change. SAP provides SU25 to help manage changes in authorization objects and customizations. Choosing between overwriting and merging custom data when upgrading, administrators face two choices. 1. Overwrite customizations, replace old custom data with new standard data. 2. Merge customizations, manually integrate new standard data with custom settings. Chapter 7. Best practices for SAP security and authorization management. Key best practices for securing your SAP system. 1. Regularly review user access. Periodically review user roles and permissions to ensure they align with their current job functions. 2. Use roles for access control. Rather than assigning individual authorizations, use predefined roles to simplify security management. 3. Implement segregation of duties, SOD. Ensure that critical tasks are divided between multiple users to prevent fraud. Regular maintenance of authorization roles. It's important to continuously update roles to reflect changes in the business environment or system upgrades. Handling role conflicts and security risks. Review and resolve any conflicts between roles to minimize the risk of unauthorized access. Conclusion. Recap of key concepts in this manual. We've covered the essential concepts of SAP security and authorization management. By understanding how authorization objects, fields, and roles work, SAP security administrators can ensure that users only have access to the data and functions they need. Final tips for SAP security administrators. 1. Stay informed about changes in SAP's authorization management features. 2. Regularly test security configurations to ensure they are effective. 3. Work closely with your development and functional teams to maintain optimal security levels.